All right, hey, what's up, everyone? Jammer here again, and so you saw the first video, Hulk Hogan, 1979 through 1988. This is part two, and I don't really know where I'll stop at. I'm thinking maybe I'm gonna see if I can do 88 to 93 with this one. We'll see, depending how much time I have in the videos. But let's start off with August 88 for Inside Wrestling here. This is what Randy Savage must do to escape the shadow of Hulk Hogan. So again, the last video I left off at, Randy Savage just won the WWF title at WrestleMania IV, defeating Ted DiBiase in the finals. Hogan now taking a back seat to the Macho Man, and that would happen for the next year. Wrestling Superstars Fall 88. We got a Superstar Dream match with Hulk Hogan and Iron Mike Tyson. What Mike Tyson was for boxing in the 80s, it was what Hulk Hogan was for wrestling, right? They were like neck and neck. Non-boxing fans knew who Mike Tyson was. Non-wrestling fans knew who Hulk Hogan was. So it's a shame that you don't get that in wrestling or boxing nowadays. I couldn't tell you any current boxers' names, and for wrestling, there's no real superstars. No one really transcends into pulp culture. John Cena was the last guy, and he's not really. He's kind of there still, but only when he seems fit to be there. But the 80s was a different kind of breed for superstars and sports, that's for sure. PWI, November 1988. He's back, but is Savage's belt beyond Hulk's reach? So the Hulkster is back now. SummerSlam 88, he returned to tag with Randy Savage as the Mega Powers against the Mega Bucks, which was the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase and Andre the Giant. Winter 88, Wrestling 88, we got Beyond the Square Circle, the Hulk Hogan you never knew. There's just pictures in there of his family inside, or friends. It's just, it's kind of what you see on the covers, what you see inside. It's pretty much Hulk Hogan in a Speedo around a beach. It's really weird. April 89 for The Wrestler. Hulkamania runs wild again. Can Randy Savage stop the onslaught? So Hogan is once again WWF champion by the looks of it. And he defeated Savage, of course, at WrestleMania V. Because I don't know, unless they mean Hulkamania runs wild is just Hulk Hogan's back. I'm not really sure what they mean by that. Because I don't think he would have won the belt yet. It's April 89. So I guess it just means Hogan's back. It seems like a weird catchphrase for that magazine. May 89, Pro Wrestling Illustrated, now more than ever, Hulk Hogan needs you. Again, an old photo of the Hulkster from 1985, it looks like. Inside Wrestling, May 89, Hulk Hogan admits I love Elizabeth like a sister. That's a great way to make Randy Savage even more paranoid than he already is. Inside Wrestling, you're helping the cause there. Summer of 89, Wrestling 89, the Mega Powers, can they put the pieces together again? No, they definitely couldn't, not until many years later. WCW, they tagged up again. This is interesting because it kind of takes away from Savage. It takes away from everything that's going on at the time with Hogan. July 89 for The Wrestler. Dino Bravo, the man Hulk Hogan cannot beat. So I think that's kind of interesting. They kind of like, where did this battle come from? This interesting storyline, right? Cool though. It's in a rare time you're gonna see Dino Bravo on the cover, and he's taking it to Hulk Hogan. Like that's very unnatural, and you don't see that much on the cover of magazines. August 89 for Pro Wrestling Illustrated. It's the Hulk Hogan regains the WWF World Title. Of course, that photo of Hogan there is from like 1985, but here you see a small photo of Hogan and Savage taken far away. So again, they had to be up in the crowd, taking photos of this. They weren't allowed at ringside. August 89 for The Wrestler. So that other magazine was misleading about Hulkamania being back. What can Savage do? Because this was the WrestleMania 5 event right here. They're showing Hogan versus Savage on that one. August 89, Inside Wrestling. Your ballots are in. Hulkamania rules. There's Hogan with the Hulk Rules shirt. No longer wearing a Hulkamania shirt. It's now Hulk Rules for the Hulkster. September 89, Inside Wrestling. Savage is shamed by Hogan. Only Elizabeth can save him now. Hogan and Macho Man did business after WrestleMania many times. Mainly, they wrestled over in Europe for the UK shows right after WrestleMania, and they did house shows leading up into SummerSlam. Of course, Big Boss Man 2 was also wrestling Hogan on those house shows. Kind of they're finishing up their feud that started in '88 after the Andre feud. Wrestling Superstars, Fall 89. It's a small photo of Hogan, but I just like the concept of this one. Hulk Hogan and Rick Steamboat versus Randy Savage and Ric Flair. What a dream match that would be. That would be an awesome tag team match. I don't care what anyone says. That would put some butts in the seats, as Tony Schiavone probably wouldn't say. But no, that would be an awesome tag match, no doubt. October 89, Muscle for Muscle. Who's more awesome, Luger or Hogan? I think Luger is actually got the better body. He's more cut and defined while being muscular, where Hogan's just kind of bulky. And I mean, it's incredible to say that because like both guys look impressive as hell, but Luger has, I think, the better body than Hogan. Sports Review Wrestling, October 1989. Savage versus Hogan. SummerSlam will not end this war. There's Savage coming down hard on the Hulkster there. That looks like it might be at Madison Square Garden, perhaps. I know that's kind of cocky for me to say, but just, I don't know. It's dark there, and then the average, like the lighting at the top like that, I think it might be MSG, but I could be wrong. November 89, Sports Review Wrestling. We got special section, Hulk Hogan's toughest matches. There's Boss Man taking Hogan from behind, apparently. Let's take a look at these matches, right? I'm kind of curious. Who do we got for toughest matches? All right, here we go. Special section, Hulk Hogan's toughest matches. Versus Bob Backlund in June of 1981. Versus Dr. D. David Schultz in September of 1983. Versus Brutus Beefcake in February of 1985. Versus Big John Studd in December of 1985. Versus Andre the Giant, March 1987. That was at WrestleMania 3. Versus the Big Boss Man, February 1989. Versus Dino Bravo, February 1989. And versus Randy Macho Man Savage, April 1989, being WrestleMania 5. Good to see the Dino Bravo thing still in there, showing that that the magazine cover wasn't a hoax. Dino Bravo really was tough for Hulk Hogan. Sorry, guys. I keep drinking water tonight. I ended up getting, and this is a side story here, but I ended up getting a sub at Subway tonight. And of course, every time I get a sub at Subway, it always leaves me thirsty the rest of the night. So it's drinking nice cold water, trying to fix that. Wrestling 89, Winter 89. We got Hulk Hogan on the cover here. That shot of Hogan's probably from 87, 86? 86 maybe. It's hard to tell. Probably 86. Yeah. January 1990, The Wrestler. Exclusive, the Hulk Hogan Book of Lists. Let's take a look what those lists are. Like stuff like this. So it's like the 10 toughest opponents. Here they have Andre the Giant, Randy Savage, Bob Backlund, Tony Atlas, Dino Bravo, Ted DiBiase, Paul Orndorff, King Kong Bundy, Roddy Piper, Ed Magnificent Morocco. So a little bit different here than that other list we just read. And 56 is the and here it goes again. So if you're a Hogan fan, January 1990, The book of lists for the wrestler. Hogan will tell you. Look at that photo of Hogan there. He's like, looks like he's in the NWO there. Black shirt, black bandana. Whew. All right. March 1990, Pro Wrestling Illustrated. Again, Hogan's on the cover here in the bottom left. I just love the look of that photo. Hogan with the wide-eyed, crazy eyes and ripping the shirt, eyeing up his opponent, ready to take him out. That's a great shot of the Hulkster there. And it just looks cool. So I thought I'm going to include it, even though it's a small photo. So up next here, we got Wrestling Classics. And they're a magazine that was put out by Pro Wrestling Illustrated, of course, talking about like former stories that you could have read years ago in the magazines. So this is March 1990, and this is the cover. The center there is Hulk Hogan, of the heel Hulk Hogan against Bob Backlund in 1981. So at the time, I would have been 9 years old here. At the time, I had no idea Hulk Hogan was a bad guy early in his career. I only know the Hulkster from when I started watching, which would have been 1985, 86 in that area, until 1990. So I only know good guy Hulk Hogan. So the fact that Hulk Hogan was a bad guy here was like, whoa, that's crazy. I found that out reading these old Wrestling Classics magazines. So I'm kind of glad that they brought those out. Again, kind of like, here's a reminder of things that happened to new fans who probably didn't know. So that was kind of neat. Wrestling 90, spring 1990, we got Hogan versus Savage here in a cage, and it says their war began in the 80s, it's continuing into the 90s, and before the WWF World Champion can consider his career complete, he's going to have to put to rest the legend of the Macho Man. So that's interesting there. Of course, Macho Man became Macho King as time went on, defeating Duggan for the crown, so that's a little bit off. I think he would have been Macho King by then too. He won that crown in 89. April 1990 for the wrestler. We got Hulk Hogan, A Decade of Greatness, a 3-part series, and this is part 1, the rule-breaking years. There's a photo there of Hogan and Tony Atlas. That's that same photo I showed you before with the red trunks and all the Band-Aids on his forehead from all the blading he probably did. Hogan liked to bleed every once in a while in a match. April 1990 for Wrestling Classics. We got Hogan on the cover here, pile driving Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. That would be from the big event in Toronto at the Canadian National Exhibition back in August of 86. Yeah, that's pretty cool. May 1990 for Pro Wrestling Illustrated, a very old photo again of the Hulksters. This is easily from 1985. Hulk Hogan primed and ready for WrestleMania VI. Again, that belt, he hasn't worn it since 85. I mean, I get it that they don't have many new photos of Hogan to work with, but man, you'd think they could find something a little better than photos that old. If I was in a variety store and I saw that magazine, I would think, why did they have this old magazine from 1985 still here? But no, it's from 1990. May of 1990 for Inside Wrestling. WrestleMania VI main event, Hulk Hogan versus Ultimate Warrior, exclusive preview analysis. So they're hyping us up now for WrestleMania VI, the big showdown between Hogan and the Warrior. May 1990, Sports Review Wrestling. Hogan victorious. The Royal Rumble sets the stage for WrestleMania VI and beyond. Hogan and Warrior did some interaction in that Rumble. Got the fans talking and excited for what could happen. And of course, Saturday night's main event helped with that as well, with the tag match with Hogan and Warrior against Mr. Perfect and the Genius. Okay. Now, I included this magazine. I only kept 3 Wrestling USA magazines in my collection. I only kept them because I had them as kids, these ones, and they're kind of like nostalgic to me. But I did have this one. Hogan's on the cover here. It's Wrestling USA, May 1990. Hulk Hogan in 1990, 5 former champions look ahead. Plus, it gives you that Hulk Hogan book of lists story that was in the January 1990 of the wrestler. So, again, it's just cool that Hogan here on the cover, a good shot of the champ. So I thought I'd include that in this video as well. June 1990 for Pro Wrestling Illustrated. We get a nice shot here. Hogan versus Warrior, why WrestleMania VI won't settle this feud. That just looks awesome. Looks very, very cool. I like the looks of it. And, that's, and even though it just says Hogan versus Warrior, it works, right? It just works. And, people know then, right? It's Hogan versus Warrior. That's what it is. June 1990 for the wrestler. We get A Decade of Greatness Part 3, Hulkamania, The Fall and Rise. The reason why I didn't include Part 2 is because the photo of Hogan is the little one at the top box there. There's no point in showing that. But yeah, the wrestler really going all out for the Hulkster here for some reason. I guess maybe they ran out of stories. I don't know. Summer 1990 for Wrestling Superstars. The Superstar Dream Match, Hulk Hogan versus Lex Luger. That dream match came to be on the second ever WCW Monday Nitro in 1995 when Lex Luger came back to WCW from the WWF and went after the Hulkster. Wrestling 90, Summer 90. Hogan and Warrior there. Can they ever be friends again? That's a good question. Will they? Can they? Should they? Meh. We don't really know, because I've heard stories that they didn't like each other outside of the ring. I've heard many things, so I don't know. Inside Wrestling, July 1990. Our urgent plea to Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior team up and eliminate these men, being Rick Rude, Kurt Hennig, Earthquake, and Randy Savage. So that did not happen, though, unfortunately. July 1990, Wrestling Classics here. It's the Hogan and Bundy on the cage. It's a good shot from that match. Plus, you get Hogan and Andre, Hogan supporting Mr. T, and Hogan with the victory over Savage. You got a lot of Hogan on this cover, so I included it because of that. It's pretty Hogan influence. September 1990, PWI. The Hulkster's Wrath, 7,000 Miles to Violent Redemption. Hulkster went over to Japan after WrestleMania, did some ass kicking over there for a bit, and then came back to the WWF to take on this man right here. Wrestling 90, fall 1990. We get Earthquake. Hulk Hogan versus Earthquake. Was this the Hulkster's farewell tour? Earthquake, of course, the last big guy Hogan wrestled that he dominated. He actually got the end result over Earthquake in their feud, and it didn't happen with the likes of The Undertaker or Yokozuna. But Earthquake, it did happen. The Wrestler, August 1990. Sign our petition now. Hogan Warrior 2, you can make it happen. Good shots there from the match at WrestleMania VI with Hogan and Warrior, which was a really, really fun match to watch. And the Hogan Warrior 2 match did happen. It was WCW, Halloween Havoc, 98, and it was not good. Do not watch that one. Not a good match. Not a good match at all. October 90 for the Wrestler, Hulk Hogan versus Earthquake, exclusive SummerSlam preview and analysis. So Hogan and Earthquake was the big money deal here in 1990. Warrior was, doing his thing with the title, but Hogan and Earthquake without the title was bringing in a lot of money and a lot of fans. This is November 90 for Inside Wrestling, A Tale of Two Ex-Champions. It says Ric Flair, why his 7th title is out of reach, and Hulk Hogan happier without the belt. Pretty much saying that these guys weren't going to be champions in the 90s. However, that was wrong. Both men, of course, did win their respective titles in the 90s, early 90s. Winter 90, Wrestling 90. Hogan desperately needs a manager. Who should it be? And as we all know, it ended up being Jimmy Hart in the year 1993. The Wrestler, January 1991. Hogan's on the cover here. The Survivor Series Survival Guide. The Hulk Hogan Factor. Is this really the Hulkster's event? At the time here, Hulkster lost 87, but was victorious at 88 and 89. So, I know it's kind of hard to say if it was his event, but he did win 90, not one but twice. He won his elimination match, and then the grand finale of Survivor's match he won too. So February 91 for Inside Wrestling. Can Hulk Hogan make it 3? January 23rd, 84, Hogan pins the Iron Sheik. April 2nd, 89, Hogan pins Randy Savage. And number 3 says our plan for the Hulkster to regain the WWF World Belt. But to do that, he'd have to get through this man still. Inside Wrestling, March 1991, the Earthquake feud rumbles on. Will Hulk Hogan be the victim of his own deadly obsession? Hulkster just couldn't stop. Wrestling Earthquake, it seems. While this man right here ended up taking reigns, and you'll see, actually it's coming up soon. But he is in this photo. Hulk Hogan, the challenges that remain, we get the Warrior, Slaughter, Earthquake, and Bruno, apparently. But yes, Sergeant Slaughter would take the championship from this man right here on the right, the Ultimate Warrior. Of course, this would be, that was April 91 of the wrestler. This is April 91 of Wrestling Superstars. Superstar Dream Match, Hogan Warrior 2. Like I said, it may have been a dream match, but the match was not a dream when you'd watch it in WCW. May 91, The Wrestler. Here we go. Only Hulk Hogan could rid the WWF title of the stench of Sergeant Slaughter. So yes, they're already setting up for Hogan Slaughter. WrestleMania VII, it would be taking place in Los Angeles. And it was supposed to take place in this giant outdoor coliseum, I believe, but they couldn't get the fans to buy tickets, so they put it in a LA arena. And they said they did it out of safety reasons, but really it was just because they couldn't sell tickets. By 1991, wrestling wasn't as exciting as it once was. So, May 1991 for Sports Review Wrestling, we get an expert psychologist warns Hulk Hogan is at the breaking point, and I'm not sure what breaking point that is, but apparently he's at it. This magazine's sweet. I had it as a kid. I really like the cover. It's June 91 for PWI. America's Hero. There's the Hulkster there, the cartoon of him all jacked up and drawn, and he has a big old dong on him too. I mean, they could have didn't have to really go into that detail to make his package that big. But as Hulk Hogan said in that court case, that Terry Bollea has like a, what was it, like a 6-inch penis, but Hulk Hogan had like a 12-inch or something ridiculous. But man, Hogan's crazy. I guess that's what it all comes down to. But still, this is ridiculous, folks. Oh wow. The Wrestler, June 1991. How much longer can we depend on Hulk Hogan? There he is with the Winged Eagle WWF title after he defeated the Sarge. Here's the match where he defeated the Sarge, July 91. Pro Wrestling Illustrated. The war is over. Hulk Hogan liberates the WWF belt from Sergeant Slaughter. That right there is from WrestleMania 7. He's got the blood coming down, the belt around his waist, the American flag. You can't get any more American, I guess, than that photo right there. July 91, Inside Wrestling. Burning Mad. Beating Slaughter for the title was not enough. Look at the Hulkster there. He is ready. He's ready, and I don't even know where that is from. Is that from a restaurant? Was he getting something to eat? Was he yelling at the waiter? Like, honestly, where could that photo be from? What a strange photo. Pro Wrestling Illustrated, August 91, Supercars 91. You get the Hulkster on the cover here in a small photo, but I actually have this because it has this in it. Another fold-out of Hulkster with the WWF title, so had to include that in the Hulkster stuff here. August 91, The Wrestler. If Sergeant Slaughter said, "I'm sorry," would Hulk Hogan and the world forgive him? I need a new one of these. Look at that, it's loose. No, I don't think did he ever say sorry to Hogan? I know he said sorry to Jim Duggan, and Duggan forgave him, but I don't remember Slaughter saying sorry to Hulkster. September 91, Inside Wrestling. He's in the WWF, and he's in the biggest trouble of his life. We're talking about Sid Vicious, who, of course, here is known as Sid Justice, setting up for Sid to be the next Hulk Hogan, apparently. But Sid didn't want that. He wanted to feud with Hulk Hogan. So that would eventually happen at WrestleMania 8, a little bit down the road. Sports Review Wrestling, October 1991. If Hulk Hogan's movie is a success, we all lose. My God, where did they get that photo of Hogan? Like, what is he doing there? Like, seriously. The movie they're talking about is Suburban Commando. I never did see Suburban Commando, so I don't know if it was a success. I'm going to say it wasn't. I did see some of his other movies, but I never did see Suburban Commando. I really should find a copy of it and watch it just to say I've seen it, right? November 91, Inside Wrestling. Our investigation reveals the truth behind the Hogan Savage connection. Of course, those photos are probably from 1988 or so, but I'm not sure what the connection would be at this time frame for those two. The Wrestler, December 91. Roddy Piper's exclusive analysis, Flair versus Hogan. Who will win the match of the century? We got Hogan dropping a leg on Flair there. Now, I don't know if that is from an actual match or if that's Photoshop, because that might be Photoshop, I have a feeling. But still, pretty cool. Let's see here. December 91, Sports Review Wrestling, Hulk Hogan to Sid Justice. It's up to you, kid. And apparently Sid has a smelly underarm there because Hogan's like, whoa, brother, put on some deodorant. At least that's what the photo looks like. But yeah, so again, Hogan endorsing Sid. Sid was supposed to be the guy to take Hogan's spot in the WWF at this time. And it just was not happening. December 91, Wrestling Superstars. We get Hogan versus Flair here, a preview and analysis of the dream match that's becoming a reality. So again, remember Wrestling Superstars showed a photo of those two from 1986 at a possible dream match. Now it's going to happen. It's exciting. We're going to get a actual dream match between the two guys we always wanted to see compete against each other. So that is rather exciting. So I'm going to continue on here to, I think I'm going to go until, the end of 92 with this. I think that's a good idea, and I'll save the rest for video 3. Here we go then. So I'm going to continue on. January 92, Wrestling Classics. We got Flair and Hogan here on the cover, and there's a poster inside showing, look at that right there, the match of the century. Looks good. Both titles there, the big world title, the Winged Eagle, and you get a sweet photo here of Hogan and Andre, which is nice to see in this, so that's all right. Pro Wrestling Illustrated, February 92, has Hulk Hogan had enough? So there it is, Hulksters. You're going to be leaving wrestling? We'll soon find out, I guess, after WrestleMania 8. The Wrestler, March 1992. After the Survivor Series and Tuesday in Texas, has the WWF title suffered irreparable damage? There's, of course, Undertaker and Hogan make the cover there. They had the two big matches for the title at those events, and which created it to be, held up. And at the Royal Rumble, we saw Ric Flair victorious to win that. March 92, Inside Wrestling. Who's winning? The Hogan-Flair Wars. So there's some good photos there on the cover of Hogan and Flair doing battle, probably at Madison Square Garden, I'm guessing. May 92 for PWI. Hulk Hogan, super psyched for WrestleMania 8. There he is over in Japan. Wrestling. Look at that. Hogan's actually doing a wrestling move. And yes, Hogan can do wrestling moves. He just chooses not to. Like, why bother do all the moves when you can do a dog and pony show and get paid big money to do so in the WWF, right? I don't know. Why go out of your way to do moves and hurt yourself if you don't have to? Makes sense to me. May 92 for Inside Wrestling. WrestleMania will be their battleground between Sid and Hogan. There it is, talking about it right there. Wrestling Superstars, June 92. The Hulkamania, the all-time Ultimate Dream Supercard. We get Hulk Hogan versus Superstar Billy Graham as the main event. Of course, Hogan idolized Superstar Billy Graham, but Superstar Billy Graham was before my time. He was, champion in like 1977, and I think going into 78, I believe. But I was born 1980, so I missed that era. The Superstar Billy Graham I saw was him just coming back to the WWF, and he got hurt, and then he managed the Rock Don Morocco. I know people who were born like 1970 or 71 or 72 or whatever probably remember Superstar Billy Graham really good, and was a huge fan. We're a huge fan of him, right? I'm sure I would have been if I was born in that era too, but I wasn't. So I can't. What I saw of what he did, it was good, but again, I didn't grow up watching him, so I can't really connect. But I connect with Hogan because I grew up watching him. So hey, if Hogan was a fan of superstar Billy Graham, then no doubt I am too. I look at it that way. That's pretty much where it's at there. Inside Wrestling, September 92, Hulk Hogan's retirement. Why the WWF will never let him rest in peace. There's the Hulkster there again. I don't know if he's out at a restaurant or something. He's wearing a white button-up shirt, it looks like, with collars. I don't know where they got that from. And last but not least, I'll use, this will be the one we end it with for this video. December 92 for Wrestle America. Hulk Hogan left wrestling for this, a tutu. That, of course, being Mr. Nanny. Mr. Nanny, I actually saw in the theaters. My father took me to go see it because I remember I wanted to see this Hulk Hogan movie. And I liked it back then. You know, I was probably like 12 years old when I saw it, but I liked it. I don't know if I'd like it now. I'd like to see it now again just to see what it was like. But I thought it was funny and I liked it then. So maybe some particular websites out there have these Hogan movies I can somehow find and watch, and I'll look for them maybe tomorrow and see if I can get them. Well, it'll probably be today when you watch. I'm saying tomorrow right now because I'm doing this at night, but it'll be today, meaning tomorrow, whatever. You get the gist of it. All right, so that's where I'm going to end it at for part 2. So that takes us up to the end of 92 pretty much. Hogan, would come back in 1993, and that will be, and then do his whole spill to until 2000 I have here. So I'll do that for the third video. And again, if you're a Hulk Hogan fan, I hope you're enjoying these. If not, I'm so sorry. And just skip them, I guess. But it's kind of an interesting, look at Hogan through the years, right? You can kind of see the feuds, the matches, and everything that he was doing. So, all right. Until I do my third Hogan video, I'll talk to you guys later.